What is good with you guys, man? It's your boy Toad, and if you can tell, I'm finally starting to feel better. I mean, I've been getting stronger since basically yesterday, but today I've actually felt like I got a good amount of food back in my system and some strength left. I got something coming up in the next 2 weeks that I will be talking about. But this question has always arose, and I feel like this has always been a debatable topic of how many times a week do you need to train in order to improve at fighting or like keep improving, even as an MMA hobbyist. I think that there's no right answer to this, and there's no direct answer to this, if that makes sense. In my opinion, I don't believe there is a textbook answer, but I just want to explain a little bit about my MMA journey, and hopefully it'll start making sense, and just basically how I went about training. And nowadays, I only train 3 times a week. Really, like, that's just as much I have time for at the moment. Of course, as this channel progresses and as I can just keep making more time into becoming a content creator, then of course I would love to hit the gym like 4-5 days of the week if this starts becoming my thing. But for right now, as an MMA hobbyist, and I'm sure you understand as an adult, right? Like, we got other obligations to take care of. We got other responsibilities. You feel me? But we also want to get in our training. So, again, I currently am doing 3-4 days when my body's feeling good. But, and this is the but part, but it wasn't always like that. Because the first 2 years of my training, I'm going to be real with you, I was kind of addicted to the gym. You know, and fortunately, I will say this. During 2020, when we was going through that whole lockdown situation, I basically started my jiu-jitsu journey at the end of 2019 going into that. So during that time, as I was a white belt and as we was going through this temporary lockdown thing, it was a very weird time for me. But at the same time, there wasn't much going on in the world. So when there wasn't businesses open and people was staying at home, like, dude, I was training and I was practicing. And when the gym was back open, I was in that gym like 5-6 days a week. And I know that for some people, they can't afford to devote themselves to that much time. And I completely feel you on that. But again, when I first started, I just was so addicted to it, and it was such an outlet for me. And I'm going to be real with you, I was kind of going through a bad place in time, you know? Like, I really wasn't doing much with my life, doing much else with my life, I should say. What I was going through personally, there was just days where all I wanted to do was just make it to the gym. You know, like, I was just like, bro, if I can just, whatever it is I do, if I can just make it to the gym at 6 and put my feet on those mats, like, and that's what I did for 2 years, and more or less like 5 days a week, you know, and sometimes I would hit an open mat. So, but I really do believe like that consistency for the first 2 years, that going to the gym, I believe like that initial like constant exposure to MMA and to grappling is really what kind of gave me the boost to get over what I believe is a learning curve when it comes to jiu-jitsu and MMA. Like, the learning curve of, you know, like, this is here, right? If you're here, and this is like the learning curve, and if you're here, we're talking about like foundations and concepts and like all these kind of things, right? Like how to throw a punch and blah, 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 blah. But once you kind of get to here, I've noticed that you may not be like steady, like, boom, you may not be like spiking up in skill, like your skill level may be gradually getting better, but it's the fact that like you've already made it over this hump. Let me give you another example. You take a pro skater, like, let's say somebody who's been skating since they was a kid and did all these crazy tricks like tray flips and kick flips and like you know, crazy vert jumps or whatever. And even if that pro skater who's been skating for years took a couple years off, I guarantee you that even if they took like 2 years off, they could still hop on that board and bust a kickflip or do some really impressive stuff. Like, they for sure are going to still be skating better than the average human, just because of how much time they used to devote themselves into it. Or it's the same thing, like they used to skate all the time, but now they only have time to skate like once a week or something like that. But they could still do like just crazy stuff, like stuff that is way beyond the capabilities of an average human. And it's just, again, how much time they used to put in the past. At least if you don't want to be a beginner. I do believe that when you're training, there is going to be a point in time in your life where you know, like I said, it might not have to be forever, but you will have to devote your time and a lot of your time into this craft to get over this learning curve. And then maybe later on you can kind of wean yourself off the activity and cruise a little bit and still kind of maintain this, you know? And I think that that's me right now with my 3 days a week, is like I'm still kind of maintaining this, but it's because I got over this initial curve. And I may be wrong, I don't know. But again, whatever number that makes up in your head that you think that you need to expose yourself to a good amount of training within that week. There was this interview with Gordon Ryan a while back talking about how, like, if you're physically not in the game, you need to be mentally in the game. To be real, Gordon Ryan, personally, like, he's said some controversial things, but he for sure is a great grappler. And that is something that he said, I think, really stuck with me. If you're not in the game physically, if you're not physically training, you need to mentally be thinking about it. Like, you need to mentally be thinking about jiu-jitsu. You need to mentally be thinking about your fighting. I do it all the time. Like, I mean, there's moments where I space out because my head is like in a sequence. My head is like in a combo. My head is like thinking about a certain position. And maybe that's just being weird or something, you know? Like, I definitely am a weird person. It is what it is, bro. Like, I know I'm a weirdo, but that's just how my mind thinks. And I truly do believe that that has played some part into me getting better at learning how to fight. If you aren't in it, you gotta be mentally in it. Yeah, locking in mentally and locking in physically, them two aligned together, I totally believe that you will start improving. But yeah, what do you guys think about this topic? How many times a week do you think you need to train in order to improve or to steady improve getting better at MMA, grappling, jiu-jitsu? Let me know in the comments though. Let's have a discussion about this. I'm going to also be dropping some great outdoor content this summer, and it is approaching, you guys. We're almost in spring. I am stoked. Don't forget to like and subscribe to get updated on that. I'll see you guys next time.